BurcHowdy update number 2. I am about to put this carter blade on because they resaw really well. This is a black birch tree and the whole shop smells like wintergreen because that's where wintergreen comes from originally. Anyhow, I'm about to cut this into shafts once I get that blade on because this heater unit is ready to go. Right now it is 73 degrees, 59%. I can track that on the cell phone. I'm going to be testing the unit with just the dehumidifier on, with just the heater on, with both of them on, and shafts will be hanging. This will hold 200 plus. I'll probably only put half the hooks in to begin with, so they line up like this. I'll be doing tests in small runs. The first goal is to get something that stays straight, and my fear is that this unit is going to dry them out way too fast. And so that's why I'm going to test it with just the dehumidifier and with just the heater on separately. A square is more likely to warp than a round surface because a square has more drying surface and that accelerates the drying, and the corners are less stable. I'm trying to both learn from the information that's available, but I'm also eager to learn the most direct way, that is by, doing shit and seeing what happens. As of today, the first week project is done, and these are going to be shafts hanging in there later. The goal is to get them into the unit as soon as they're cut. And I'll be testing it first with just a dehumidifier, and then testing it with the heater, and then testing it with both at the same time. How will I know what's going on? Well, tracking temp and humidity. I had to actually contact the company to find out what setting to use. Black birch isn't in their book. But I'll be getting the humidity of the shafts and keeping track of the whole thing so that I'll be able to come up with kind of a recipe to dry these shafts without warping as rapidly as possible. I'll be turning them, making them round, and porifying them, cooking them at a 400, maybe 350, 300, we'll find out. At the end of today, there are going to be shafts hanging in that box, probably warping by Monday, but we're going to learn it. So I'm doing a little bit of work getting this dehumidifier ready, and I had an idea. I'm going to run this tube out the side and collect it in a gallon jar. Then I'm going to add sweetener, ferment it, and make birch beer. Legit, like real beer. All right, I'm about to saw the birch logs. Well, one birch log. And I'm gonna rift saw half the log and a quarter saw the other half. I was drawing it out, showing Dad what my intent is. And then I'm gonna start in here with just the dehumidifier going. And just for curiosity's sake, I'm going to track the water that comes out of it. I think the heat from the dehumidifier is probably going to be sufficient, at least in the first few days when the goal is to go slowly. Just use the hand plane to get a straight edge. This is going to work so much better once I get so that I get that straight edge. And then I'll use the tilt function on the table with a rift saw and use it flat with a quarter saw. So we're ready to start cutting these. So what's ridiculous is I used the hand plane on this and it's bowed. It's badly bowed. And then over here I didn't do anything and it's perfectly straight. All right, they are now quarter sawn. This is one of these medium-sized logs, about the size of this one. No, that's bigger. This one was 6 1/4 inches in diameter, 16 shafts, blanks, and quite a few of them are probably going to end up being rejects. The reason it's mattering to me right now is because I'm learning how to burn the wood. Bottom line, I'm going to dry it out, put it into a chamber, pump the air out, and take it up to where it ought to combust or close to that. And there are going to be mistakes along the way. Until I test this wood with knots, I won't know how big of a knot is good versus does it need to be cleaned completely? Does it need to be just straight old boring wood? How much knottiness can we tolerate? A perennial question among us who enjoy cue sports. These are about to get their corners knocked off, and then they're put on the taper shaper. I'm going to make them round. And there's several of them that have a bend in the end because I'm dealing with logs on a table. No sled. I did my best, and I'm reasonably happy with them. They will be round and in that box soon. I have 16 shafts. They're bending, and that's going to be natural 100% of the time with green wood. It's going to be interesting to find out whether I have to dry it as a board and then cut it first, or cut into blanks and turn or press them straight. A lot of learning curves here. This section here has 3 that are perfect and the rest have knots. This has 3 that are perfect and the rest have knots. And so I'm going to make half of them round and the other half are going to go into the dryer as octagons. That's the first test, and I'm going to find out. I know it's a small sample size, but if I keep track of that over time, the sample will get bigger and bigger each time I do one of these logs. I'll be keeping track of all of those factors as to how they affect whether a shaft ends up being straight or not. So there's a quick chart. That's the humidity level of the 5 that I checked, and that's what I'm going to be keeping track of. There are 8 of each, 8 octagon and 8 round, and whether it has knots, bark, sap, and heartwood in the same shaft. Almost all of them are warped to start. 8 of them are ready to get anchor seal on the ends. The unit's looking dark, it's so bright outside, but the other 8 are about to get put on the taper shaper, and they are going to get round before they go in. Not all the way, because I'm not turning them into dowels first. I have another machine made by Doug Michaels. It's a slide for a circular saw. I bought a motor to put with it, and everything I need to make it into a functioning doweling machine. I just have to put all the parts together and do all the testing to get it to. That'll be another step. Then I'll have the bandsaw sled in a couple of weeks, 6 weeks I think. Sometimes these are so bad on the first turn you can see them warping. This one, however, you can see it rolling. If it warps between today and tomorrow, it gets an X. If it warps the next day, it gets another X. I want to see if you can cut a warp out, or whether once it starts warping, it's truly screwed. Either way, you got to know at what point to cut one of these shafts loose, when it's just going to be done. I kept even with the knot in it, because warping and humidity, it's still useful to know that knot will be a weak spot on it. That's a nice pretty grain, isn't it? So this is going to get turned down every day until it reaches the final temperature and humidity that can be torrified. I don't know, I'll probably start at about 10% humidity. I might take it down lower if there's a reason to. I still have to research it, but it'll probably be 10%. Each day, if this shaft begins to warp a little, hopefully turning it on the taper shaper cuts it straight again. Maybe I'm able to go from green to dry and keep it straight. When you torrify it, which will happen at some point in this turning process, that should cook in the straightness, because all the humidity is going to be out. The structure of it's going to be more rigid, because all of those sugars are going to be caramelized and baked solid. It's going to be stiffer and lighter. It's going to have better structural, not integrity, but better structural Matthew McConaughey. I don't know. Anyhow, that birch is looking good. 7 more to go. The shafts are now 8 of them octagons with anchor seal plastered all over the ends, and the other 8 have been begun to be turned round. Those are about 9/10 of an inch in diameter. That will be the ferrule end of the shaft, so they have a long way to go. But the idea is to get them round, get the moisture evaporating evenly instead of from corners. My predictions are the octagon ones are going to warp all up, especially at the knots, and that the others, I have no idea whether they're going to stay straight or warp. The way I sawed them are supposed to be the most dimensionally stable. They are quarter sawn, and the logs are so small. I was going to rift saw, but there would have only been a total of 4 shafts that would have mattered. If you know the angle pattern of quarter sawing, that's how small the tree was. I didn't bother with 1 shaft per quarter. It doesn't matter, so So those are quarter sawn, which ought to be, hopefully they stay straight. I know that it's going to put a lot of stress on there to pull that humidity out, and so I don't have the heater on. That would even speed it up more rapidly. The idea is to be as gentle with these as possible while urging them along. It's an exciting time. I have 7 hooks per row, 14 holes per row, but only that many hooks because the rest haven't come yet. I had to run downstairs to get one more hook. Came back, opened it up, and the wintergreen smell was so overwhelming. It is going to be absolutely wonderful. So I'm excited to find out, get this thing closed up and find out what starts happening. I suppose I'm going to take one more humidity measurement. 30.4, okay. Yeah, that's right in line with what it was. I just wanted to make sure they hadn't started drying out and the measurements would be wildly off. The experiment has begun. It's going to be interesting to see whether I get any straight shafts out of this, but I'll report back on the next update. I'm excited about this. Check this out. This means it's working. I decided to check. It's been about 4 hours and the heater is not on inside there. It's just a dehumidifier. And so I'm starting to freak out. I think these things are going to get totally dried out. So it's 8:30 at night, but I've only turned these things one time. I was thinking I'd turn them multiple times. So let me see if I can get a... Oh, sorry, I got to take it out. $25. Okay, good. I'll take that. Just hang with me a minute, yo. So to see if it's wobbling, all you have to do is turn it by hand. There's a big flat spot there because cutting out a warp from sawing. But since having turned it on the taper shaper, you can see that it's not warping. See how that the bottom line there is staying steady as I rotate it until you get to the flat spot. That's perfectly steady. This is not warping. You watch, I'm gonna come back here tomorrow and these things are gonna be bone dry and warped all to shit. Or, I'm gonna come back tomorrow, I'm gonna retake. You know what, I'm gonna come back tomorrow and these things are gonna be perfectly straight. The ones that started out with a little bit of bend to them. Straight and narrow. That's how I see the future.